I grew up going to the Church of Christ, but because of everything that was going on in my household and how I felt people treated me at church, the day I turned 18, I walked out of the church and I swore I would never return. And I proceeded to go on with my life and make every bad decision you could make. My life was a train wreck. But in the early 80s, I started going to Boise State University taking night classes. And one day I walked in and there was a sign and it said, John Clayton, Scientific Proof of God's Existence. And I thought, ooh, that sounds interesting. So I walked in and sat down, and the things that he was talking about, scientific things that could not happen through evolution. There's just no way. What's interesting, though, is John Clayton grew up an atheist. His parents were renowned scientists. And he tried to date a woman who was a Christian, and she wouldn't date him. So he went to read the Bible to prove to her that God wasn't real, and instead proved there could not be the world that we have without a creator. So I'm really enjoying this class. And the second night, this gal named Arlene Bradshaw walks up to me, and I knew her from the Church of Christ. And she said, Colleen, you should come to church this Sunday. Mr. Clayton's going to be our guest speaker. And I remember looking at her, and I just went, it's too late. And I walked to the chair and I sat down. And what I meant by that was I had sinned so badly and done so much stuff. I had no hope. So the next night was the last night of the seminar, and I'm there because this is interesting. And she walks up to me and she puts a scrap of paper, just a scrap of paper in my hand. And she closed my fist and she smiled at me and she walked off. So I opened the scrap of paper and it says Luke 15, 4 through 7. I don't know. Put it in my pocket. Seminar was so good. Went home, found my Bible, looked it up. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and his neighbors together and says, rejoice with me, I found my lost sheep. I tell you, in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who do not need to repent. I struggled all weekend. I struggled so hard. But for me, that Sunday was the first step in my journey back to Jesus, all because of an ex-atheist and a woman who looked at me with kindness and compassion and put a scrap of paper in my hand.